Section 2.2, defining the derivative of a function and using derivative notation. The derivative of f is a function whose value at x is this, provided the limit exists. So what did we talk about this is? This is right here, this part right here is the average rate of change. But the average rate of change as the denominator approaches 0 is undefined because you can't divide by 0. But if you take the limit, you could find what it's approaching. And so this right here is called the instantaneous rate of change. And the derivative is the instantaneous rate of change. So when we say derivative, we're talking the instantaneous rate of change. All right, at a point. So with the instantaneous rate of change at a point. All right, and that's what this is giving us. Now what does h represent? H represents the interval size of the average rate of change. So if that interval size is approaching 0, you get the two dots on top of each other, which is really slope at one point, which also becomes dividing by 0, which that leads to the derivative, the instantaneous rate of change, which is the building block of all of calculus. Now, the derivative, if let's just say y and f of x are interchangeable, which you probably know that already. The derivative, instantaneous rate of change, is written these 4 different ways. You have dy dx, which is also y prime, and you have d dx of f of x and f prime x. All right, those are the notations of that you're most commonly going to see when you talk about the derivative, or the instantaneous rate of change. Describe what f prime 3 means and how to find it with a graphing calculator. So let's first talk about what this means. F prime means the derivative at 3. Okay, what does derivative mean? The slope. So it's saying the slope of the function f of x at x equals 3. So it's the slope of the function of f of x at x equals 3. And that's an important thing you'll see as we go on in this chapter section. How to find it with a graphing calculator. So how do you find the slope at any given point on a graphing calculator? Well, if you use an Inspire, what you're going to do is you're going to hit the word menu. And then after you hit menu, you are going to click on the button that says calculus. And then from there, it's going to give you like this template, and you're going to put in x is your value. You can put what value you're going to plug in, and then it'll give you, once you hit enter, it'll give you something that looks like this. It says like d dx, and it'll have parentheses, and have a line, and then x equals a number. All right, the number you typed in the template will go here, and your function will go here. You're going to type in your function, and that's f of x, so whatever function is. But it's going to look like this, and then the function goes here, the number here, and that will give you, boom, an answer out, which is the answer of the slope at 3, or whatever you're dealing with. Now, if you don't do it in the calculator section, if you do it in the graphing section, you're still going to hit, first you're going to graph it, then you're going to hit menu, and then you're going to hit analyze graph. Okay, or analyze function, one of the two. I can't remember what it says exactly. So once you hit that, from there you are going to, first you have to put the graph in. So once you have the graph, you hit menu, analyze graph, and then from there you will just choose the one that talks about derivative. Then once you hit the one that defines the derivative, you just simply type a number. It's going to not ask for a number, but if you simply type the number, bam, it'll pop up the derivative or the slope on the screen. And lastly, if you want to use Desmos, all you do with Desmos is you graph the function, and then once you graph the function on Desmos, you will simply just write this, f prime 3, and bam, it'll pop out the answer once you have f of x defined. Now, so if we use any of these methods, and we want to find these 3 derivatives of this function, using our graphing calculator or Desmos. So let's try that. If you try those, I'd like you to actually try those. If you do that, f prime 2.5 is going to give you 6.71. F prime pi is going to give you an undefined, which we'll talk more about what that means. The slope is undefined, which you should know what slope is undefined means. but there's several things. We'll talk more about that. And the last one is 0. So a slope of 0 at this point. So the slope at 2.5 is this. The slope of f at pi is this. And the slope at pi over 2 of this function is 0. And so make sure you know how to use the calculator to crunch it through. We will teach you how to do it without a calculator, but right now we're just having you crunch it with the calculator and deal with that.